Hi guys, I wanted to show you very quickly how I created a JSON file to send a post request. And we know that for a post request we need to have a body, and for retrieving something or like a GET request we need parameters. It's going to be one or the other. So here I'm going to post a direct message. So this is basically this function in Twitter. What I do is, before looking at any of the requirements, I go down and I look at the example request, because this is basically everything we need. And whenever you see twirl, we're not using twirl, so disregard that. From here up is what we need. So first thing is the URL and the endpoint, we have that. The authorizations, the keys, we have that. Here, header. Content type will be application JSON. And where it says data, this is basically going to be our body. So without this single quote, everything that you see inside the curly braces from end to end is going to be our body. Now let's see. Let's look at this method. For anyone who is struggling to understand this, this is basically a return type of method where we are returning a validatable response. This is coming from Rest Assured. And we're returning this entire action that we have here. As you can see, we have our keys. Here I added a .log method and .all. It's better if we do this, because if you notice in the terminal, whenever our test case fails, it just tells us that the response code did not match, but it doesn't tell us where the error is. If we put the log all during input, then we will see what we put in, and if we put the log all after .then we will see the output as well. We'll see everything that we sent and everything that came out or came back in the console. So it's good to add this. Next, I found this online. It didn't really say this on Twitter. I added a accept content JSON type. So then here you see I put the header, which I saw in Twitter to do. Right here, again, header, this header. And you know it's going to be a key and value pair, so the header is content type, and then the value is application JSON. Then I added this again because I saw this online. Again, I don't know if this is necessary. Probably not. Try it with or without. Next we have the body, and as you remember, the body is basically it's basically the data that we saw back in Twitter. Here. So from here, yes, from the start of the curly braces to the end of the curly braces, which is data. Now, I'm having a hard time navigating. So this is the important part. Here I created a JSON file directory. You could name it whatever you want. I created it under Twitter. And here you see I have some JSON files. It's a .json file. We're able to do this because there is a JSON dependency in our POM. If you remember, Mahmoud added this in the POM when he created the project, and I just copied his, so I have it. And here I'm going to make a new JSON file just to show you. It's a second message .json. Okay. So here I can basically put a JSON object. What I'm going to do is come back here, and from data, everything after the single quote. We don't need the single quote. So get from the braces end to end. Copy that. Bring it back here and paste it. Now this isn't formatted, so format it. And look, we have our JSON object here. Now we can go back and look at the requirements. what is required. Type the type of event you are posting. For direct messages, use message create. Now that's already there. Type is message create. We already have that. Next thing we need, message create target recipient. ID of the user who should receive your direct message. So right here, I'm going to have to replace this and put some ID in there. Message create message data object. This is already there from the example request. You see, message data, basically the text is falling under this, if that makes sense. What else? Text. Text is required. You see that here also. We have text. I can write anything. Now let me show you how I got the ID for the user that I will DM. Let's say I want to DM Aldrin. When I open up this window from messages, you see at the top there are two IDs there. One is yours and one is the recipient's. I'm not sure which one is Aldrin's. I think this is his. And this might be mine. So I copy that, and here for recipient ID, I'll put that in there. Now, okay, I'll say, hey, Aldrin. Let's make it exciting. Okay, and come back here now. So that file that we just created, this JSON file, we want to get this data. Oh, by the way, you can only put one JSON object per file. I'm not sure if you can do otherwise, but I wasn't able to, so you guys can try that. Okay, now coming back here, in this body, I want to put that file, right? I want to pass it to the body. How we can do that is using file input stream. See, JSON message, you can name it whatever, equals new file input stream, and here you will put the file path. Second message, copy. So I tried it from using the repository root. For some reason it didn't work. I'm going to use the absolute path. You guys can play around with it and see what works for you. And another thing you can do is create a variable for the path up somewhere on the top and call that here if you don't want to see all this here. I'm just doing it for the purpose of showing you. Okay, add that exception. It was asking to add an exception. Okay, so now JSON, so now I'm going to pass this file here in the body. Now let me come to my test method here, message create, just making sure it's the right one. I had to add an exception signature here too because I have it for the other one. Okay, this is pretty self-explanatory. I think most of you get it. This is just the response, and we are getting we're calling that method here to run it, and we're getting the status code. We're comparing the status code to 200. Okay, let me run it and see what happens. Okay, so it went through, and you see because we did log, the method log and all, .log and .all, I'm seeing the request post, everything, all the details about it, and I'm also getting the return, the response. Here, usually if there's any error, like if I forgot the recipient's ID or the recipient's ID is invalid, it will tell you. It will tell you that something is wrong here. So it's better to log it. That way you can see what's going on and what you need to fix. Instead of not having this and then you're just like, what happened? It just keeps failing. Okay. That is all for now. Oh, let's see the magic. There. it worked. So I hope this helps you guys. Thank you for watching.